Now, presented in digital widescreen.
Tonight on News 25 at 6, another bad day for the governor as the state agrees to halt inmate transfers and lawmakers do not tackle pension reform in Springfield. Good evening. Mac has the night off. A waste of time. That's what some state lawmakers are calling today's special legislative session on pension reform. They returned to Springfield to tackle one of the biggest and most expensive issues facing the state. But before the lawmakers could even meet this afternoon, no pension deal could be reached between the governor and the four legislative leaders. When House members convened this afternoon, Republicans voted to go right into caucus to look at two bills which did actually involve pension reform for state employees and lawmakers. Republican State Representative Don Moffitt says the two measures could only save the state about $50 million a year and would actually do very little to provide comprehensive pension reform.
It really doesn't address the real serious issue of the pension system currently not being sustainable. So we really need to look at the total package, and I want to emphasize all the stakeholders need to be at the table.
Unfortunately, I think the governor felt the need to call a special session, and it was unnecessary because if there's a need for us to be down here after May 31st, we can come down on our own. A special session does not have to be called.
The House did vote on a pension bill today, but it did not get enough votes to move forward. The state Senate did not even discuss pension reform. Instead, it held an executive committee appointment meeting. Lawmakers have adjourned for the day. The freeze on inmate transfers from prisons in Dwight and Tams will continue until August 31st. AFSCME, the union representing prison guards and staff, sued the state of Illinois over the closings, arguing that transferring inmates posed a grave risk to prison workers. Governor Pat Quinn ordered the closings in order to save $100 million, but AFSCME and Dwight city officials argue Illinois prisons are already overcrowded. Closings will only disrupt life in two communities unnecessarily. Another status hearing has been scheduled for August 27th. And Derek Smith is no longer a member of the Illinois House. House members voted today to expel Smith from office. The Chicago Democrat faces federal bribery charges stemming from allegations that he took $7,000 in the form of a bribe during an FBI sting. House members voted 100-6 to expel him. It's the first time in more than 100 years that a state representative has been expelled. But according to Smith, his colleagues did not wait to hear the full story. He's pleaded not guilty to the federal charges, and his trial date has not yet been set. Striking workers at Caterpillar's Joliet plant will go back to work starting next week. Today, members of the Machinists Union ratified a 6-year contract. About 780 union workers say they were fighting for higher contributions to health care costs and better wages. CAT spokesman Rusty Dunn says the tentative agreement reached today includes a small wage increase for those hired after May 2005. Wages are frozen for those hired before that. There's also a ratification bonus, but Dunn says the more than 3-month strike did not impact production.
We were able to continue operating the Joliet facility with a contingent workforce made up of salaried management employees, some temporary replacement employees. We were able to produce product and meet, and in some cases exceed production there.
The Joliet plant makes hydraulic components, and last month Caterpillar reported record-breaking second quarter earnings totaling nearly $17.4 billion. A Peoria man is facing felony charges after placing an infant in a bathtub of hot water earlier this week. 19-year-old Brandon Cooper was babysitting his girlfriend's 2-year-old son when the boy defecated in his pants. Cooper removed the boy's clothes and put him into a bathtub filled with hot water. Police believe the water burned the boy from the waist down, covering 60% of his body. He was taken to a local hospital before being transferred to the burn unit at the Memorial Medical Center in Springfield. Cooper is charged with reckless conduct and causing great bodily harm, which is a Class 4 felony. He's currently being held at the Peoria County Jail in lieu of $15,000 bond. A preliminary hearing is scheduled for September 13th. Police are searching for a male suspect in connection to a bank robbery in Bloomington this morning. According to police, around 11:30, a white male in his 50s entered the PNC Bank on West Market Street. The man passed a note to the teller implying he had a weapon but did not display it. The suspect then took an undisclosed amount of cash, fled on foot to the Farm and Fleet parking lot. There, he got into a dark-colored Chevrolet Equinox and drove away. Police are asking anyone with information on this crime to contact the Bloomington Police at 820-8888. Reports are surfacing about a nationwide bomb threat at a chain of movie theaters, putting police and bomb-sniffing dogs on high alert across the nation. Officials report the threat was called into the Carmike Cinema's corporate office in Columbus, Georgia this morning. The caller claimed there were multiple bombs planted in Carmike theaters across the country. Authorities say each of the company's 236 theaters were searched. That includes the Palace Theater in Bloomington. Bloomington Police Public Affairs Officer Dave White confirms 2 officers were dispatched to the theater around 10:45 this morning. The officers searched the building along with management, but found nothing suspicious. Nothing has turned up so far in any of the cinemas under investigation. Heavy rains that fell this week have helped ease dry conditions, but maybe too late for area farmers. News 25's Mark Strauss has the story.
Twice already this year, the U.S. Department of Agriculture has scaled back projections for corn and soybean yields because of the drought in the Midwest. And while Central Illinois farmers have welcomed the recent rains, the manager of the Peoria County Farm Bureau says they may only hold limited benefit.
Last year, Peoria County averaged around 160 to 170 bushels of corn per acre. And this year, on average, it looks like it'll be in that 130 to 140 bushel range.
That's about a 17% drop from a year ago. In Morton, farmer John Ackerman is also expecting a disappointing harvest.
We've had more rain yesterday than we have had in 6 or 8 weeks.
And that may have saved his soybeans.
I'm going to have a below average bean crop, but I don't believe I'm going to have a disaster crop like I thought maybe I would have had.
Believe it or not, these 2 ears of corn came from the same field. This tiny ear grew right behind me. This robust ear was 30 yards away. That contradiction is a microcosm of a geographically larger phenomenon. Some local farms, located in small pockets of the state where more timely rains fell, will experience a better than average harvest. With the drought forcing the price of a bushel of corn up from $5 in the spring to as high as $8 now, a few lucky farmers will actually have a good year.
It's going to be a windfall for some farmers, and other falls it's really going to be a challenge for them.
But they'll continue to plow ahead. I'm Mark Strauss.
All right, we'll have to make the rain last we got yesterday because we're going to dry out over the next several days, maybe over the next 2 weeks. But boy, it feels like fall out there, at least bearable temperatures. Let's go outside and see what's going on because it's very comfortable. Only a few mid to high level clouds out there. I'm sorry, I don't know what happened there. Let's try that one more time. There we go. 75 right now in Peoria and 55 at midnight. Look at that low in the morning. 48, that could be close to record territory in some locations. Complete weekend forecast comes your way in a couple of minutes.
All right, thanks, Chuck. Well, just 1 week after the Metro Center's announcement, the city of Bloomington will also become home to a Smash Burger. The newest Smash Burger is one of 6 slated to open in the heart of Illinois over the next 5 years. The restaurant is at 1401 North Veterans Parkway, and it's set to open August 29th. The owner of the new Bloomington location also owns a Smash Burger in Springfield, which opened last year. So far, the franchise has 165 restaurants nationwide, plans to open 500 more over the next few years. There's more for Towanda in your hometown. Still ahead, your complete weekend forecast, plus the story of a young boy who's now a hero thanks to one important lesson.
You're watching your home team at 6